Chapter 11. Why, then the world's mine oyster. There was no way to get around it. I had to pee. Juliet had burrowed beneath her blankets once again, insisting it was the best place for her to think. If I lived in Manhattan, I would never have to get married. Are you certain that you do not wish to go back to Manhattan? Totally certain. I'm sure there's other places we can go. I looked under the bed for a chamber pot, but found only dust balls and a slumbering brown mouse. What the heck did they do in the 16th century? I remember reading that in the Middle Ages, people stuck their butts out holes in castle walls. No way was I doing that. Dream or no dream, I had my pride. Escape will be impossible with my mother's henchmen following us. Even a nunnery could not protect me. She punched the blanket with her foot. Juliet? I squirmed like a first grader. Where is the bathroom? I refuse to share a bed with that old man. Juliet, I need to urinate. You need to piddle? The closed stool is behind the screen, in the corner. I hadn't noticed the screen, painted the same off-white as the walls. It concealed a stool with a hole cut in the center, and a ceramic pot held beneath, like a toddler's training potty, only larger. I could deal with that. As the pee filled the pot, doubts trickled into my mind. The sensation felt warm and relieving, like the real thing. What if I was actually peeing? Oh my God, did that mean that I'd just wet myself in the real world? How totally embarrassing, especially if Troy had witnessed the act. He had already seen me vomit. Just great. I couldn't blame wetting my pants on bad clams. Wait a minute. Falling in a dream feels real, but the dreamer isn't actually falling. So it's possible I wasn't actually peeing. But doubt lingered. Dreamers don't wonder if they're actually dreaming or not. When asleep, they accept the dream as reality. Yet there I sat, a nagging doubt tapping me on the head. Oh, Mimi, even if I had money, which I do not, and even if I had a horse and carriage, which I have not, two women cannot travel alone. We'd be noticed immediately. Then we'll dress as boys, I suggested, grateful to have a distraction from my confusing thoughts. As boys? Why not? It's a classic theme. Even Shakespeare uses it. Shakespeare? The room filled with voices. I straightened my dress and emerged from behind the screen. Two serving women placed bowls of water on the bedroom table while others pulled Juliet from the bed. A bit roughly, I noticed. Juliet pouted and squirmed while they washed her face with small towels and brushed her hair. Two more women began to remove her nightgown. No thanks, I insisted as one approached me with a washcloth. I can do it myself. I never get to dress myself, Juliet pouted, standing in a sort of tank top and slip. Never, she yelled in a woman's face. I suppose that the Capulets of Manhattan are allowed to dress themselves. Not this Capulet. At some point in my development, probably when my breasts refused to fill anything larger than an A-cup, my mother decided that I should look exactly like Audrey Hepburn. She's a classic, she had told me, filling my closet with trench coats and sleeveless dresses. And she's dead, so you can't upset her if you look exactly like her. My crisp style garnered me a few mentions on the best dressed list, but I didn't care. It wasn't my style. I don't get to dress myself either, I commiserated. Juliet tapped her foot irritably as an attendant pulled a long white shirt over her head. That hurts. Stop tugging on my hair. I shall scream if you keep tugging like that. All of a sudden I felt bad for Fernando, recalling all the times I had whined while he had simply done his job. I slipped off my filthy costume and took the shirt handed to me. The servants widened their eyes at the sight of my bra and panties, but said nothing. Juliet was too busy squirming and complaining to notice. You are all wretched, and I hate every one of you, she told them. With the shirts in place, we slipped on long underskirts. Then the attendants held up our dresses. Juliet's was green, mine was blue, both with square necklines and ribbons for cinching the waist. At least father doesn't make us wear Capulet colors to all parties, Juliet said, grimacing as the cinching proceeded. I let the attendants help with my dress, since it was such a complicated procedure. The sleeves were huge puffy things that had to be attached at the armholes with laces. This took forever, and my arms got tired as I held them aloft. Why would my arms get tired in a dream? And why did I feel hungry? Nagging doubt returned, but still, I ignored it. A party awaited, with music and dancing, and guys to dance with. I had attended tons of charity events over the years, but never unchaperoned. I was going to cut loose tonight, maybe try some wine, maybe even do some slow dancing with that gorgeous Benvolio. In Shakespeare's story, he sneaks into the party with Romeo in tow. Oh, that's right, Romeo was going to be there too. That would definitely complicate things, as we all know. A happy ending was still my goal, so I'd just have to do my best to keep Romeo and Juliet apart. How dare they? Lady Capulet screamed, popping into the room like a champagne cork. Her hair hung loose and her sleeves had not yet been attached. She held a piece of paper in one hand and a bouquet of roses in the other, which she shook so vigorously that red petals flew about. "Those monstrous, mottle-minded Montagues are at it again!" She flapped the paper in the air. "They told Paris that my daughter has a boil on her bottom!" Juliet gasped, playing it cool. I, on the other hand, would have crumbled under that woman's interrogation. One gaze from her, and I'd give up name, rank, and serial number. "Mother, such unkind words!" Lady Capulet raised her eyebrows. "You don't, do you? Have a boil, that is." "Mother!" Juliet stomped her foot, crunching the fingers of the poor attendant who was trying to tie her shoes. "How would a Montague know what is or what is not on my bottom?" "How indeed!" Lady Capulet thrust the paper at me. "Paris sent this. Read it aloud, Mimi. I am too distraught." I took the little note card. A capital P sat in the upper corner, embossed in gold. The writing swirled in delicate loops and curlicues. Aroma of rose drifted off the page. "My dearest Lady Capulet, how saddened I am to hear of your daughter's unfortunate condition. Boils can be dreadfully unpleasant, especially if they sprout on such a delicate derriere as I can only imagine your daughter possesses. I would be happy to recommend a skilled surgeon if lancing becomes necessary. In no way does this lessen my esteem for your daughter. Even the most beautiful rose can succumb to a case of black spot now and then. I am disappointed that the party is cancelled. Please send word as soon as Juliet is recovered so we can move forward with marriage arrangements. Consider these flowers a token of my admiration. Yours most respectfully, Paris Calcetto IV." "He thinks my daughter is spotted, and that the party is cancelled." Lady Capulet tore the note from my hands and crumpled it. "I will send word immediately that the boil is a vicious lie, and that the party is not cancelled. Damn those malignant Montagues!" She threw the bouquet on the table. "Use the rose perfume. Paris prefers roses. And where's the hairdresser? Your hair will ruin us all." As soon as her mother had left, Juliet knocked over one of the stools. Then she pushed through the flock of attendants. "Everyone be gone!" A woman handed me a pair of leather booties with wooden heels, then followed the others from the bedroom. "Rose perfume," Juliet complained, throwing the bouquet across the room. "I shall not smell like one of his roses. I shall smell like the opposite of a rose." Juliet had clearly bounced back from her panic attack. She didn't seem to suffer from depression, unlike poor Romeo. She had simply freaked out, and who could blame her? Her situation totally stank. But Juliet Capulet was not the kind of person willing to give in to despair. Her spunky nature wouldn't allow it. She opened the chest, took out a coin, then stomped onto the balcony, her wooden heels clacking like castanets. "Boy!" she called. Dusk had come, but the air still held summer's warmth. Despite the growing darkness, the boy had returned to his crate. He eagerly leapt to his bare feet. "I did what you asked, my lady." "Yes, excellent work. Now I want you to go to the market and purchase some onions, the ones with green stems." "The market is closed, my lady, but my mother has onions in her garden. How many would you like?" "Three. 3 should do it." Juliet tossed him the coin and he ran off just like last time. "Paris may be willing to forgive a boil, but we shall see what he thinks of onion breath." She wrapped her arm around my waist in a conspiratorial hug. I ate up her rebellion like a starving French peasant. "Ladies!" a voice sang, startling us both. A man wearing a floppy scarlet hat entered Juliet's bedroom. In fact, his entire outfit blazed scarlet, from his tight-fitting doublet to his even tighter leggings. 2 servants followed, carrying a bench. Nurse entered as well, tottering under an enormous basket filled with ribbons and combs. "Oh no," Juliet whispered, "my mother's hairdresser." The scarlet man bowed gracefully, swirling his hand through the air like a cook whisking egg whites. He smiled patronizingly. "My dear Poppy, you should not scowl like that. Your scowls make Vincinto crazy." Juliet scowled harder, thrusting out her bottom lip like a bulldog. Vincinto shook his head with disapproval when he sized me up. "2 heads of unruly hair that Vincinto must tame. Nurse, fetch some wine. Vincinto must arouse his muse." Nurse set down the basket and departed with a huff, muttering that if anyone needed wine and arousing, it was she. Vincinto motioned for Juliet and I to sit on the bench. He grabbed a comb that looked like a barbecue fork. "I shall create my latest invention, the Leaning Tower of Hair." Crap, how many hours had I spent having my hair and makeup done? I wondered. What was keeping me from walking down the hall rather than sitting on that bench? Why should I torture myself? I could go anywhere I wanted in this dream. I could pull my hair back with one of those ribbons and say, "See you later" to Juliet. I'm out of here. But I didn't want to leave her. I had promised I would help. Even if she was just an unconscious vision, I felt connected to her. I'm well aware of how strange that sounds, but it's the truth. Nurse came in and slammed a carafe of red wine on the table. "It's half empty," Vincenzo complained. "I know nothing," Nurse said, wiping her mouth with the back of her puffy hand. She hurried from the room. Vincenzo guzzled the remaining wine, then began to work his magic. Using two wooden structures, odd bits of wig, and our own hair, he combed and braided and wove until tower-like appendages sprouted atop our heads. The weight made me tilt slightly to the left. Vincenzo complimented himself as he circled us, patting the ridiculous towers as if they were poodles. But it didn't end there. Vincenzo's work continued as dusk turned into darkness and cicadas started harmonizing outside the window. He applied thick, white makeup to our faces, necks, and hands. Had he been trained by the circus? When he had finished with me, I went and sat in Nurse's chair. I didn't intend to fall asleep, but that's what happened while waiting for Juliet. Visions of Troy floated through my head. He didn't pull back from our kiss. He didn't smirk at my virginal lips. In my dream, we just kept kissing and kissing and kissing. Imagine my confusion when I woke up from the kissing dream to find out I was still in the Verona dream, like a reflection of a mirror in a mirror in a mirror. I woke up. How could I have just woken up? And that is when the nagging doubt erupted like an aggravated boil. "Hello," nagging doubt screamed. "Have you figured it out yet?" I pinched my arm. It hurt. I pinched again, so hard that my fingernail broke the skin. I bled. I felt my pulse. My heart beat wildly. I was awake. "Magnificent," Vincenzo said, bowing to Juliet. "You are ready. Go to the party and let everyone bask in your beauty. Tomorrow Vincenzo's leaning tower will be all the rage." As soon as he and his servants had left, Juliet stood over me. "Are you ill?" she asked, puzzled by my queasy expression. I didn't move. Juliet's pupils dilated. A pulse beat at the side of her neck. If I pricked her, she would also bleed. Juliet Capulet, in the flesh. My God, I was awake. I had been awake the entire time. The upside-down ride on the guard's shoulder had hurt because it had really happened. The nurse had smelled bad because she actually smelled bad. The pee had felt warm because pee comes out that way. Holy cow, I was awake. How amazing is that? Juliet rushed to her mirror. While I thought we looked like drag queens, she had a 16th century reaction. "Oh no," she cried. "We are irresistible." She rushed to the balcony, her tower swaying with every step. "Boy," she called, reaching her hands into the darkness. An onion flew through the air, then a second, and a third. She caught each one, then tore off the green stalks and tucked them under her dress stash. She cupped the bulbs in her hands. "Like precious pearls plucked from an oyster," she whispered. "Mother will kill me if she finds out. And my mother would kill me if I missed my performance." Which is what I was doing since I was awake. Forget her. Forget the theater. Forget everything. Certainly I could have returned to Nurse's chair to fret about the how, why, and where of my situation. Forget that. Something magical had happened to me. I stood, trying to get my balance with the stupid hairdo. Happiness flowed through my body. What an adventure! What a fabulous, amazing thing to actually be standing next to Juliet Capulet, no matter how weird we looked. And I was about to go to a party where no one would know my real name. Juliet stood so close that our towers knocked together. She started to giggle, a sound that fed my euphoria. Juliet Capulet, famous love-struck heroine, was about to eat a handful of raw onions so a man would find her disgusting. I felt more mischievous than I ever had. Like we were about to pull a Halloween prank, but what we were really about to do was to mess up some parental plans. Now why hadn't Mr. Shakespeare thought of that? "Come on," I said, tucking the bulbs underneath my sash. "Let's go make a man fall out of love."